My friends, let me tell you something powerful. Stress does not break leaders, it reveals them. When the weight of the world seems too heavy, when deadlines tighten, when challenges pile up, and when everyone else feels like crumbling, true leaders do something extraordinary. They pause, breathe, and rise above the storm. See, average minds react. They panic, they complain, they blame. But leaders respond. They create space between the chaos and their choices. They know that while stress is inevitable, surrendering to it is optional. A leader under pressure doesn't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, they ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" That shift changes everything. When stress comes, leaders sharpen their focus. They prioritize what matters most, and they let go of the noise. They don't allow temporary struggles to cloud their vision of permanent purpose. They know that diamonds are created under pressure, and so are legacies. A leader's calm becomes the calm of the team, their strength becomes the fuel of others, their vision becomes the anchor in the storm. People don't follow leaders because life is easy, they follow them because when life gets hard, those leaders show the way. So the next time life feels overwhelming, don't break, don't hide, don't quit. Do what leaders do. Step back, breathe deep, focus on what you can control and rise. Because here's the truth, stress doesn't define you. Your response does, and the world is waiting for the leader inside you to show up. When life becomes overwhelming and stress knocks on the door, the very first thing a true leader does is simple yet deeply powerful. They pause. In the middle of chaos, when everyone else rushes to react, panic, or lash out, a leader chooses stillness. This pause is not hesitation, it is mastery. It is the moment where they take back control of their mind, their emotions, and their decisions. You see, stress makes people impulsive. It drives them to say things they regret, to make choices they later undo, to take actions that cause more damage than the problem itself. But the leader knows that power lies not in reacting, but in responding with intention. That one breath, that single pause, that brief silence before speaking or acting is what separates wisdom from chaos. Think about it. In moments of stress, the body naturally goes into fight or flight. The heart races, the mind spins, and the emotions rise. Most people let those impulses dictate their behavior, but leaders rise above biology and step into self, mastery. They slow down their breathing. They quiet the storm inside before they address the storm outside, and in doing so, they gain the clarity that others are desperately searching for. The pause allows perspective to return. It gives space for solutions to surface. It prevents words spoken in anger or decisions born in fear from destroying what they've worked so hard to build. History has shown this truth again and again. In times of crisis, the greatest leaders are remembered not because they rushed, but because they remained composed. When soldiers panicked, a commander who stood calm gave courage. When a business faced collapse, a CEO who steadied their emotions found the breakthrough. When families faced loss, the one who breathed deep and chose to think clearly became the anchor for everyone else. Leadership is not about avoiding stress, it is about mastering it, and that mastery begins in the pause. This pause also sets a tone for others. When a leader refuses to be controlled by pressure, their calmness becomes contagious. People look around in the storm, and when they see their leader steady, they too begin to steady themselves. Fear loses its grip. Chaos loses its control. And suddenly, a room full of stress begins to transform into a room of focus. That's the hidden gift of the pause. It not only saves the leader, it saves the team. So when stress comes into your life, remember this simple truth. You do not need to rush. You do not need to react out of fear. You do not need to be ruled by stress. Step back, take a breath, and claim that pause. Because in that pause lies wisdom. In that pause lies strength. And in that pause lies the power to lead yourself and others through the storm. Stress doesn't decide your outcome. Your response does. And the pause is the first step to victory. When stress takes over, most people waste their energy on things far beyond their control. They worry about what others think, about what might go wrong, about the future they cannot predict. This endless cycle drains their strength and magnifies their stress. But leaders take a different path. They refuse to drown in the ocean of the uncontrollable. Instead, they narrow their vision, sharpen their focus, and concentrate only on what they can directly influence. This discipline is not just practical, it's transformational. A leader understands that the mind is like a garden. If you fill it with weeds of worry about things you cannot change, it becomes overrun and suffocates all potential growth. But when you deliberately plant seeds of action, choices, and solutions, the things within your reach, you create progress even in the middle of pressure. Stress loses its power when you stop feeding it with wasted attention. That is why leaders don't complain about the weather, they adjust the sails. They don't waste nights stressing over what others will say. They focus on how they will respond. They don't get stuck on the problem. They put their energy into the next step forward. This focus creates an incredible strength. While others collapse under the weight of problems too big to carry, leaders carry only what is theirs to carry. And here's the truth. When you do what you can with what you have, solutions begin to appear where once there was only chaos. Focusing on what you control is not about ignoring reality, it is about mastering it. It's about taking ownership of your actions, your words, your mindset, your attitude, your effort. Those are the tools no amount of stress can ever take away from you. Think about it in your own life. Stress often feels like a mountain towering over you, but if you break that mountain into rocks you can move, suddenly it becomes possible. A leader does exactly that. They break down overwhelming situations into manageable steps, and they commit to those steps with full energy. That's why people trust leaders under pressure, because while others panic about the impossible, leaders work on the possible. And the possible, done consistently, eventually changes the impossible. This key is liberating because it shifts the weight off your shoulders. When you stop fighting battles that aren't yours, you free up energy to fight the ones that are. When you stop trying to control how others act, you put that energy into how you act. And when you stop fearing the uncontrollable future, you put that focus into mastering the present. That's how leaders win, not by controlling everything, but by controlling themselves. So the next time life gets stressful, ask yourself one powerful question: what is within my control right now? Then take action on it. Release the rest. That is the secret to clarity in chaos, to peace under pressure, and to leading yourself and others through life's storms. Stress may surround you, but your focus will always determine your freedom. Most people see stress as an enemy, something to avoid, something that crushes them, something that steals their joy, but leaders see it differently. They recognize that stress is not always a burden. It can be a teacher, a trainer, even a gift in disguise. When life gets hard, a leader doesn't say, "This is too much for me." Instead, they ask, "How is this shaping me? How is this making me stronger?" That simple reframing turns stress from an obstacle into an opportunity. Think about how growth truly happens. Muscles grow when they are placed under resistance. Diamonds are created under immense pressure. Trees grow roots deeper when storms shake them. In the same way, stress pushes us beyond comfort, stretches our limits, and builds resilience we didn't even know we had. Leaders understand this universal truth. Without pressure, there is no progress. The very moments that feel heavy are the ones carving out greater strength within us. Reframing stress doesn't mean pretending it doesn't hurt. It doesn't mean ignoring the difficulty. It means choosing to see meaning inside the difficulty. Instead of asking, "Why me?" a leader asks, "What is this preparing me for?" That question shifts the entire perspective. Suddenly, stress is no longer a punishment, it's preparation. Every sleepless night, every overwhelming challenge, every moment of uncertainty is secretly equipping you with endurance, wisdom, and toughness that comfort could never give. This mindset is powerful because it transforms fear into fuel. While others run from stress, leaders lean into it and use it to rise. A leader under stress doesn't crumble, they grow sharper, clearer, more focused. And that growth doesn't just help them, it inspires everyone around them. People watch how leaders handle pressure, and when they see someone face it with courage instead of collapse, they too begin to reframe their own struggles. History is full of examples. Great innovators, world changers, and heroes all faced moments of crushing stress. What separated them from the rest wasn't that they avoided pressure. It was that they transformed it into progress. The stress they endured became the story they told. The battles they fought became the wisdom they passed on. The storms they survived became the strength that defined them. So the next time stress comes knocking at your door, don't shrink back, don't curse it, don't see it as the end. Instead, look it in the eye and say, "You are here to grow me." Because every trial strengthens your resilience. Every challenge stretches your capacity. Every storm deepens your roots. And one day, you'll look back and realize that the very stress you once feared was the very thing that built the leader in you. Stress is not just pressure, it's progress in disguise. And the ones who rise above life's storms are those who choose to see stress not as a weight, but as a workout for the soul. That is how leaders grow, and that is how they help others grow too. When life gets stressful, one of the first things people tend to lose is perspective. Stress narrows the mind, blurs the vision, and tricks you into thinking that the struggle of today will last forever. But leaders don't allow stress to blind them. They do something extraordinary. They stay anchored in their vision. While others drown in the noise of problems, leaders keep their eyes fixed on the bigger picture, the mission, the why, that makes all the battles worth it. A leader understands that stress is temporary, but vision is permanent. Stress lives in the moment. Vision lives in the future. Stress screams about the obstacles. Vision whispers about the destination. And when the storms rage, it is the vision that gives leaders strength to keep moving. They don't allow today's challenges to erase tomorrow's possibilities. Instead, they remind themselves, and those they lead, why they started in the first place. This anchoring creates stability. Imagine a ship in a storm. Without an anchor, it is tossed in every direction, drifting aimlessly at the mercy of the waves. But with an anchor, it may be shaken, but it will not drift. That's exactly what vision does for a leader under stress. It holds them steady when everything else is shaking. Their circumstances may shift, their emotions may rise and fall, but their purpose remains unshakable. And that unshakable purpose gives them the courage to endure. Vision also provides direction in chaos. Stress makes problems feel endless, but a clear vision brings clarity to the confusion. Leaders don't just ask, "What am I facing right now?" They ask, "How does this fit into the larger mission I am pursuing?" This perspective transforms the way they interpret challenges. A setback becomes a stepping stone. A failure becomes feedback. A roadblock becomes redirection. Vision turns stress into strategy. Even more powerful, a leader's vision is not just for themselves. It inspires others. When a team is overwhelmed, when people are ready to give up, it's the leader's ability to point toward the vision that revives hope. They become the reminder of what truly matters. They lift eyes away from the stress of the present and refocus them on the promise of the future. And when people can see beyond their current pain, they find the strength to keep going. Think about history's greatest leaders. They all faced crushing stress, yet they were sustained by a vision larger than their trials. Whether it was a dream of freedom, innovation, justice, or progress, their why pulled them through the darkest nights. Stress may have shaken them, but their vision carried them forward, and eventually it carried others with them. So when stress surrounds you, don't let it drag you off course. Anchor yourself to your vision. Remind yourself why you began, where you are headed, and what truly matters. Let your why become your anchor, your compass, your fuel. Because stress may try to break you, but vision will always rebuild you. Leaders don't survive storms by luck. They survive because they never lose sight of where they're going. When life becomes stressful, most people turn inward. They retreat, focus only on their own pain, and try to survive alone. But leaders are different. When the fire of stress burns hot, leaders don't just think about themselves. They step forward to guide others through it. They understand that true leadership isn't about escaping the storm. It's about becoming the calm within it. And in the moments when pressure is highest, they become the anchor, the light, and the strength for those around them. Think about it, in every crisis, people are looking for someone to follow. Fear spreads quickly, confusion takes over, and stress makes even simple decisions feel impossible. But when a leader stands tall, speaks with clarity, and acts with courage, everyone else begins to rise with them. Their calmness becomes contagious. Their confidence restores hope. Their example reminds people that even in the darkest moments, there is always a way forward. That is the essence of leadership under stress. It's not about avoiding the fire, but walking through it with others, showing them it can be done. Leading others through stress requires sacrifice. A leader may be just as tired, just as uncertain, just as pressured as everyone else. But they choose to put others first. They choose to listen, encourage, and uplift. They absorb fear so they can give back strength. They take the weight so others can keep moving, and in doing so, they earn trust that no position, title, or authority could ever buy. Trust born in the fire is the strongest kind of trust, and it lasts long after the storm is gone. This kind of leadership also transforms the stress itself. When people feel supported, the burden of stress becomes lighter. When they see someone walking beside them, the impossible becomes manageable. Leaders know that challenges faced together are never as heavy as challenges faced alone. That's why they step into the role of guide, mentor, and encourager, even when their own heart is heavy. They understand that leadership is not about being untouched by stress, but about showing others how to walk through it with strength and dignity. And here's the beautiful truth. When a leader leads others through stress, they too are strengthened. Serving others in the fire builds resilience, deepens empathy, and expands perspective. They come out of the storm not only with stronger followers, but with a stronger self. Stress doesn't weaken them. It refines them, and it refines everyone they touch. So when life gets stressful, don't just think about how you can survive. Think about who you can lift. Think about who you can encourage, who you can guide, who you can steady. Because leadership isn't about walking alone, it's about bringing people with you, even through the fire. Stress may test you, but leadership is proven when you rise, not only for yourself, but for everyone depending on you. That's what makes leaders unforgettable. They are the ones who lead others out of the flames and into the light.